All right, let's dive right in. You know, at the very heart of everything we do, whether we succeed or, well, fall flat, there's this one single powerful idea: how we actually see our own abilities. It's this perspective that quietly but totally shapes our entire lives. I mean, have you ever wondered about this? Why do some people seem to thrive when things get tough, while others just get terrified of failing? You see one person hit a wall and treat it like a complete disaster, but then someone else sees that same wall as just a stepping stone. It feels like it should be this really complex thing, but the answer? It's surprisingly simple. It really all boils down to two core beliefs. Two simple ideas that were identified by the amazing Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. And these two beliefs, they pretty much determine so much of our success and happiness. So yeah, let's break them down. And this image just nails the core conflict, doesn't it? Do you see your intelligence, your abilities as this fixed thing? Like a lock? You've got a certain amount, and that's that. Or is it more like a garden? Something you can actually work on, cultivate, and grow over time. It's a huge difference. Okay, so let's start by really defining what these two very different paths look like. So first up, we've got the fixed mindset. This is the belief that your talents, your abilities, your intelligence, they're just fixed traits. You're basically born with a certain amount, and that's it. It's a finite resource. The cards you were dealt are the only ones you'll ever have, and your whole goal becomes just proving to the world that you have a good hand. And then on the complete other side of the coin, you have the growth mindset. This is the belief that your basic qualities aren't set in stone at all. They're just a starting point. They're things you can cultivate and grow through your own efforts, through new strategies, and yeah, by getting help from others. Here, effort isn't just trying hard. It's the actual key that unlocks your potential. Okay, now look at this chart because this is where you can see how these beliefs lead to totally different behaviors. If you have a fixed mindset, you're going to avoid challenges, right? You'll give up more easily. You'll even feel threatened when other people succeed. But a growth mindset, it flips all of that on its head. Suddenly, you want the challenge. You persist when things get tough, and you actually find lessons and inspiration when you see others do well. It's like they create two completely different realities to live in. And this quote from Carol Dweck herself, it just perfectly sums up the whole philosophy. Why waste my time looking smart when I could be getting smarter? See that? The entire game changes. It's no longer about performing and proving what you have. It's about learning and improving what you can become. Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds great, like a nice self-help idea, right? But what's so powerful is that this is all grounded in hard science. Let's actually look at the biology of what's happening inside your brain. The magic word here is neuroplasticity. See, for a really long time, scientists thought the brain was basically hardwired and fixed by the time you were an adult. But we now know that's completely wrong. Your brain is way more like plastic. It's adaptable, it's malleable. It can literally be rewired. Your brain physically changes based on your experiences and what you choose to learn. And if we zoom in to the microscopic level, this is what's actually going on. Every single time you push yourself, every time you learn something new, the connections between your brain cells, your neurons, they form new pathways and the old ones get stronger. You are literally rewiring your brain to be smarter. It's incredible. I love this analogy. It makes it so clear. Think of learning something new like trying to walk through a dense forest where there's no path. The first time, it's really hard going. You're pushing through branches. But the more you use that same route, the more a path starts to form. It gets wider, clearer, and easier to travel. That is exactly what's happening with the neural pathways in your brain. Practice doesn't just make perfect, it makes permanent. And this isn't just theory, we have real-world proof. It's fascinating. They've studied London taxi drivers, right? These guys have to memorize thousands of streets. It's called the knowledge. And guess what? They literally grow a larger hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for spatial memory. Or how about this? People who learned how to juggle physically changed the visual memory areas in their brains. They even saw it in rats. The ones in stimulating cages with puzzles and toys developed brains that were denser, heavier, and just plain smarter. The proof is, well, it's undeniable. Okay, so the science is crystal clear. Our brains can change. But now for the million-dollar question. How do we actually put this into practice? Let's get into some real practical tools you can start using today. Believe it or not, it can all start with one tiny three-letter word. And that word is yet. Think about it. When you say, I can't do this, it's a full stop. It's a closed door. But just add that one little word. I can't do this. Yet. Bam! everything changes. You've just reframed failure as a temporary stop on a longer journey. You're not at a dead end. You're just on the learning curve. And you can actively train your brain to do this. This is a great little cheat sheet for reframing those automatic fixed mindset thoughts. So that voice in your head that says, I give up, you catch it and you change it to, okay, what other strategies can I try? The thought, this is just too hard, becomes, this is going to take more time and effort, and that's okay. You're literally training that growth mindset voice to be louder than the other one. All right, let's talk about another tool that is just so powerful. And it affects not just us, but the people around us, especially kids. And it all comes down to something we do every day, the way we give praise. Okay, check this out. On the left, you see praise like, you're so smart. I mean, that sounds great, right? It sounds like the nicest thing you could say, but it's actually harmful. Why? Because it praises a fixed, innate quality. Now look at the right side. I love how you tried different strategies. That's helpful praise. It focuses on the process, the effort, the problem solving, the persistence. It reinforces the very things that cause growth. And the research shows this time and time again. Telling people they're smart can completely backfire. Think about it. You're essentially putting them on a pedestal labeled the smart one. Now their main goal isn't learning anymore, it's staying on that pedestal. And how do you do that? By avoiding any challenge where you might fail and not look so smart anymore. It actually creates a fear of taking risks. So what's the playbook? What should we be praising instead? Well, here you go. Praise their effort and persistence. Praise the clever strategies they try, even if they don't work at first. Praise them for just rising to a challenge, for learning from their mistakes, for being brave enough to ask for help. These are the things we want to reinforce. These are the behaviors that build a real, tough, and lasting growth mindset. Now, before we wrap up, there's a really crucial point we have to make. Because this idea of a growth mindset has gotten so popular, a big misunderstanding has popped up. Carol Dweck herself calls it the false growth mindset. So what is this false mindset? It's basically the watered-down version. It's the belief that having a growth mindset just means being nice or flexible, or, and this is a big one, that you should praise any and all effort, even when it's totally unproductive and not leading anywhere. That's not the point. It's not supposed to be a consolation prize for just showing up. And here's how that false mindset gets nurtured. It's when we praise effort that's kind of lazy, or when we only praise the effort, but we ignore whether it's actually working or leading to a better outcome. It's that classic, at least she tried, when zero learning is happening. The key, the real goal, is to connect the process to the outcome. We praise the productive process, the smart strategies, the seeking of help, the real grit that leads to actual achievement. The effort has to be effective. So we'll end with a question for you. Now that you know all this, that your abilities aren't locked in place, that facing a challenge literally makes your brain stronger, that the process you take is way more important than where you start, what are you going to do the next time you hit one of those not yet moments, that next obstacle, that next frustrating step back? Because how you answer that, well, that's the question that really defines your path forward.